To start things off, we're looking at the scrap metal I had to work with on this project. This is everything I got just laying around. So what I ended up starting off with was taking that 2.5 inch, I think the outside dimension was about 2 3/4. I cut 6 inches off the bottom there on a 45-degree angle just to give it a 90 turn so I could sit it down inside of a slot inside my truck bed there. I ended up cutting the flange off of the end here, and I'm going to end up reusing it. I'm just getting it cut off right now and put it out of the way. On that end, I'm actually going to end up coping it and putting the flange back on. So just put the 6-inch piece back on, put it on 90 and welded it out. And you can see the cope there on the end. Just cutting it out just so that that flange can fit back into place, and it's going to kind of be the holder for the very base of this whole table here that I'm building. Just getting everything leveled, squared. This isn't really a educational video. This is just showing you guys the build. It's really sped up. I think it's about 20 times normal speed. There it is, all welded out, just the first stand part of it. So what I needed for the table itself is I needed some angle iron. I didn't have any angle iron, so I'm using this piece of 4-inch channel and ripping it down in half, and it's going to give me the angle I need to build the base. There's a lot easier ways to do the build that I'm doing right now, but I was just using the scrap I had. If I bought the material, it would probably have gone a lot faster. You guys are seeing right now that I'm just cutting 45 corners off that angle, and I'll be able to put it all together kind of in a boxed out way. Right there I've got a piece of 6-inch channel that I'm welding down to be the base of my overall table. It's about 1.5 feet long, and I didn't actually, you can see I don't get to do very much welding on this project. It's mostly cutting, prepping, and fitting, and then just a little bit of weld. This is probably one of 2 clips. That's the most amount of weld I get to do. So there it is, the stand and the base all welded out and ready to go. So just finishing up on the top here, and now I'm getting the angle iron that I made marked out and tacked up in place, and I'm getting it all put together right there, and it's boxed out. As soon as I get it all done and square, I end up welding it out and it's ready. For as far as the first part, this is all I got on the first day. I ran out of daylight. So there's a picture of what I did on the first day. It's all boxed out and everything. So I'm just finishing welding everything out that needed to be done. Make sure that it's going to all stay together. Any vibration or anything that happens to it get knocked around. Just making sure that it's welded up right, actually. So then the next part that I'm going to get into here is actually building the slats for the cut table. And I had that diamond plate you guys saw. I end up cutting it in 2-inch strips, 1.5 feet long, and I've got to make about 14 of these. So I cut those all up, and I kind of wanted to make a point here. This is still sped up 20 times. And this, I think overall, this is about 40 seconds worth of me grinding, and that's not even halfway through. A lot faster way would have been just get some 2-inch flat bar and cut it into length. But instead I decided to use what I had, and it added a lot of time. So just a lot of grinding, getting it all cleaned up, get those slats all ready for use so they don't got a bunch of slag and everything on them. And I'll show you a quick picture here. There's all 14 of them cleaned up and ready to be put in. I've got this 2-inch by 1.5 inches that I'm going to cut down, or actually rip on both adjacent corners. And so I have them kind of for clips. The clips are going to be 1.5 inches by 2 inches long, and right now I'm cutting them down to 1 3/4 width. I'm using those for my slat holders, so I'm going to place them every 2 inches and have a little over 1/4 inch, about 3/8 of an inch of a gap between each clip. And I'm just going to weld those out. I'm going to kind of get into showing you that right about now. So I'm just tacking up the clips and I've got it all marked out to where I want those slats to end up falling, to where it's equal all the way through for all 14 pieces. And so right now I'm just tacking them all up, making sure everything fits. As I go, I have been putting, it's kind of hard to see since it's so sped up, but I've been putting slats in there, make sure that it fits before I actually weld it out. I like to make sure everything's going to actually work properly before I weld it out, otherwise that's a real bugger to try going back. So right now I ran out of clips and didn't have enough for what I needed to do, so I used another piece of diamond plate, and I'm just chopping down, making 8 pieces at 2 inches by 1.5 inches, and that's just going to get my last little bit on either end to hold my last 2 or 3 slats that I needed. So it's just kind of a makeshift there, and you guys will see it whenever I show you the picture. The clips don't go all the way out to the end, but I do have diamond plate put on an angle inside the ends there, still to be able to hold 2 more slats on either end. So right now I'm just welding it out, make sure nothing's going to come apart, and I'm going to actually show you guys again. This is going to be the first picture I showed you. This is all the scrap that I had right here, and this is all the scrap that I ended up with. I was pretty impressed. So here's a picture of it finished. This is my cutting table, 2.5 foot by 1.5 foot, and this was built completely out of scrap.